So now that we've discussed how to create and define a format for a numbered list, we're going to talk about a bulleted list. So I know that we've got, these steps here, and normally we would put these steps in a numbered list, but I want to show them in a bulleted list as well. And actually, let's go ahead instead and let's click at the bottom of our document, and I'm going to go up and turn off my show hide so that my hidden characters disappear. And I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to go ahead and start my bulleted list first, and then I'm going to go ahead and type items for it. So pause the video here and turn on your bulleted list option. So to turn on the bulleted list option, we're just going to go back to that paragraph group, and we're going to go ahead and click the bullet list button. When we do that, it just is the default bullet, and we can go ahead and put like list item 1, hit enter, add another one, and you can see that the second I start my list items, they continue through and go on with the different bullets. And then if you want to get out of it, just like you always do when you have your new list item bullet, you just hit enter again, and that will pop you back out of the list, just like in a numbered list. So you have your list items created now, and I want to show another way that you can access the formatting for bullets or numbers. So if you actually go up to your numbered list up here and you physically click on one of the numbered list items, you will see that it will highlight the entire list in gray and show you how you can format those. Over here, I can select the bullet, and I can actually format the bullet as well. So with the bullet selected, you actually can change things. So like I can go up to my font and I can actually make them, I don't know, blue, right? So I can change the color, I can increase the size of them, and it's just changing the actual bullets or the actual numbers without changing the text formatting of the items that are listed. So that's kind of like a feature of Word or of lists in general. But what I want to do is show you how to really change this bullet, because when you go to this drop down menu here, you've got some okay bullets, but they're not super great. And like, what if you wanted to make this like a checklist, right? If we want to make this a checklist, the best one would probably be this open circle, but I want it to be like a box that I can check and stuff like that. So I'd like you to pause the video here and see if you could figure out how to make this more into a checklist style with like a blank box that has a border that we can check it. So go ahead and pause it and try that. So when you're making bulleted lists and you're customizing them, just like with a numbered list, you can go to define a new bullet. When you're defining a new bullet, it's asking if you're going to want to change the font, which is what we just did. You want to change it to a picture, or do you want to change it to a symbol? In this case, let's start with symbols, because we're looking for a border box that we can then check off. So we're going to go ahead and do a symbol here. And when you choose symbols, it's going to default you to the symbol dialog box and be able to look at those symbols. But I think what's also important is you can see it's a scroll menu here, so I can like scroll through and see all these symbols that exist. But there's actually more than what's available here, because even in this one, there's not really like a check box icon. We're not really seeing some great symbols. So I'd like you to pause the video here and see if you can figure out how to get different symbols in this dialog box than what's available here. So when you're in the symbol dialog box, whether you're doing it through a bulleted list or actually using the symbol feature on the insert tab, up at the top there's a font setting, and that's where you can adjust what you're seeing. For symbols, really the best ones for symbols, or the best fonts for them, are Symbol, Wingdings, Webdings. Those are your top 3. So I'm going to scroll down in this dialog box till I go to Wingdings, and you can see Webdings is right here, and I have Wingdings here. So I just scrolled down to the W's. And when I go to Wingdings, you can see I had a lot of different things like envelopes and smiley faces and airplanes. And if I scroll through, I've got numbers and all those kinds of things. And if you chose like Wingdings 2, you get different ones with a bunch of stars and plus signs. If you get Wingdings 3, you're looking at arrows and those kinds of things. Lots of options. And then Webdings is where you get your really creative ones, like your hearts and your megaphones and your aliens and, all those things. And this was like the coolest thing back when I was a kid. We've gotten a lot more advanced in that, and that's something we're going to show in future lessons about like icons and those kinds of things. But this is like the basic feature of symbols. So I'm going to go back to regular old Wingdings. And in Wingdings, if I scroll down, there's actually this little section right here that has a box with a border. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my box with a border as my symbol, click OK, and then it will turn them into, on the preview, a checkbox. And when I click OK, it becomes a checkbox list. So it's really easy to be able to customize that bullet and change it to what you want to out of that bullet and symbol options.